Right, we're now going to assemble our ribber arm. You will notice that I haven't disassembled the tappet plate. There is no need to disassemble the tappet plate ever. If you do, you're on your own. Underneath the tappet plate you have your tension adjuster, which sits in there with this threaded screw. You've got your little pointer. This cam here is your in-out switch cam, and that has been put in there and it's virtually glued in, so I can't see any reason whatsoever that you would want to take that out. But there is one little thing that I will show you, and if by any chance you get a ribber that does catch needles when it's new, you can move the in-out switch to the halfway position, so you've got a little bit of a path there, and just get a very small nail file and take that little leading edge off there. And I hope that you can see that. That's the only problem that you will get if you get needles jamming. But don't do that until you've ascertained that the needles that you have in your ribber are good needles and not damaged ones, because damaged needles will stick as well. A little bit of oil under here is always good when you first put the ribber on, and every now and then just give it a clean out and a little bit of oil under there, especially around that cam. Your machine should be pretty well timed, but usually if you need to time it, you're not screwing in, you're actually screwing out a little bit, and then you lock that nut. We're going to take our ribber dial and our ribber dial post, the post in backwards. If for some reason it's a little bit tight, if you've got a brand new dial that hasn't been used before and you go to put it in and it sticks at that position, just give it a tap down on the table. That's all you need to do. Do not file it, do not do anything, just a good tap. Once it's through, once it's fine. Tappet plate straight down on there. This brass ring is very important. That's the spacer ring onto the tappet plate. We put our arm down. We put the little screw in here and we tighten up the ribber arm onto the tappet plate with our lovely, very gay floral screwdriver. Right, your ribber arm comes with the ribber stopper in. Very hard to get in and out, and I've made them deliberately like that so that they don't get lost. So you need to push that down to get the ribber into working position. You also need to put the height adjuster screw into the ribber arm if it's out, and screw that down, and we'll see how that operates very shortly. So there's our ribber all together, ready to rock and roll. Right, this is your yarn mast with all the parts that are needed to have a fully operational yarn mast. We take our yarn mast and we put the first screw in the side, and that is to hold our yarn post, yarn mast post. Get that in level with the top of the guide and screw it up like so. We then turn it round. You've got a weight which goes onto the back of the heel spring, and we, depending on the thickness of or weight of yarn that you're using, will govern where this weight goes. So if you're using a very heavy yarn and a very hairy yarn and on one of those dreadful 48 cylinders, you'll probably want to have that weight right back as far as it can go. It's a counterweight and it takes the tension on the yarn. If you're using a very fine yarn, right up as far as it will go, as close as it will go. That now positions itself with this bolt, and once again you'll need an Allen key, so my suggestion is that you buy yourself a set of Allen wrenches, very cheap at your local hardware store, and you screw that up. Doesn't want to be too tight so it locks, wants to be running freely, nice and freely. Now one other small thing, and you will get your yarn mast with a little indentation filed just in here. If it doesn't have that and you find that the yarn is slipping, which it quite often does with fine yarns, just get a round file and file out a little path there for the back of this lifter to sit down into, and that locks the yarn in place. So there's our yarn mast all done, all ready to go.